Hello, my name is Zisteau. Welcome back to Super Hostile Legendary Part something or other, I'm not sure. Let me try and guess, actually. Let's see, 18, 19, 20, 20. I have no idea. No idea. Probably 20 something by this point. I'm a little bit ahead of recording, and there's always this delay between what I've released on YouTube, what I've edited, and what I've recorded. It's sort of hard to keep track of what I've done and haven't done and released and whatnot. Anyway. Today, for this video, I have two objects in mind, two goals. First goal is to rework the Home of Victory area, which contains the Victory Monument. I'm going to reorganize this space, and probably the main thing I want to make is a storage room. I've acquired a monstrous amount of items so far in this map, and in terms of the amount of time I'm going to spend on this map, I've probably spent less than half of the total amount of time so far. Like, as you can see, I only have 5 pieces of wool, and I already have a monstrous amount of items from harvesting stuff and from finding stuff in random loot chests, and I want to create a central organized space to store the bulk of it. And I'm still going to have houses in different areas that will have items in them, but I want one area that's going to have all my stuff in an organized fashion. So that's one thing I want to do with this area, with this space. Another thing I want to do is sort of formalize the way I move through it, the circulation. I want to have some stairs coming out of here. I want to have an easy way to get from this tunnel, which leads to the intersection, to the monument for when I bring wool back. And similarly, I need a direct, easy path to get to my storage room, up to these rail lines, which I'm going to finish one of them, the one that goes back to intersection 1. I'll probably connect that line up to something. And I've had a number of requests to show more of me building things and my process of design and building things, because I tend to edit a lot of it out. So this video, I'm going to try to talk through some of the ideas and methods I use for building. I usually don't talk about those things and edit a lot of it out. So I'm going to talk about it today because people have asked for it. So I want to have a big storage room, and I was thinking about this for a while, and it needs to be fairly large. It needs to be, I think, expandable, because I'm going to keep finding stuff, and it may not be initially, the initial size may not be big enough for the amount of stuff I'm going to have eventually. I have this idea for putting them in this wall. I'm going to have like a shelf of storage with the idea that I can expand it vertically up all the way up to there. And sort of the image that popped into my head when I was thinking about this as a reference was a library in Mexico City called the Jose Vasconcelos Library. It's a very cool library. I'll put a link in the description. I think the best thing is just to do a Google image search. And basically, in this library, all the bookshelves are hanging from the ceiling, and they're sort of in these modular cages, and there's all these catwalks and stuff. So from the bottom, you can look all the way up through all these different cages holding bookshelves, and it's not like most libraries where everything is closed and you feel kind of claustrophobic. You can't see very far in any one direction. You can see all the way from the bottom to the top. It's a really cool open air storage system, and I don't want to try and copy it explicitly in a very strict manner. I just want to take the sort of concepts of these hanging cages, and I'm going to hang them off this wall. So first thing when I start designing something is to go from general to specific always. So I need to figure out a few things. One of the things I need to figure out is how I'm going to organize the boxes. So I need to come up with sort of an idea for that, and that's going to become a module for how I organize how they fit on that wall. So I'm going to come in here because there's just a big open space. So I'm going to pretend this wall right here is that wall, because it's already been cleared off and it's kind of convenient. And I've been thinking about using, I've never used a, I did it again. I did it again. I've never organized my boxes like this, in a row like this. Yeah, I think that works better. Okay, so one thing I'm noticing is that this platform they're sitting on, it looks too thick. I'm probably going to use half blocks. I think are they called slabs now? Slabs. I'm going to use slabs. They're not directly connected to the wall. They have a wall behind them. One thing I thought I might like is to have like have like this gap between the shelf and the overall wall. So that doesn't look quite as bad as I thought. And you know what? So this this right here is going to be the floor of the next shelf. So they would have this same arrangement of boxes on top of it. Okay, so here's another idea. And I certainly have never done this with boxes before. It never even occurred to me to hide them in a bury them in a half slab. I'm sure people have done that before. I'm sure I'm not the first one to come upon that, but I've never done that before. And that's interesting because it makes my it makes the design even more compact than it was before. All right, so there's this iteration, and this is the soul of design, is iteration and experimentation. Once you have a concept, you just have to fiddle with it endlessly until you get something you like and keep fiddling with it. Okay, so there's that. That's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. I don't think it's quite there yet. We're getting there, though. We're getting closer. Okay, there's that, but then that raises the problem that you cannot place torches on glass. That's not bad, but I like this having this separation between these two. That's a little better. That's better. That's closer, but we're not there yet. That's better. You know what? I think that's better. I think that's better. The problem with having the glowstone in the middle is that it was breaking up this this visual of this metal framework. It's really glass, but I think what I'm seeing, and hopefully what you're seeing, is you're not seeing glass, you're seeing this metal grid. And that glowstone block in the middle was interrupting that. Alright, there it is with half stone blocks instead of wood for both levels. I think this is pretty close to what I want. I think that we're pretty much there. Yeah, that is right. 5 blocks wide, that's centered. So the question is this waterfall centered in this circle? It sort of looks like it. Okay, so this will be, let's measure out what it looks like if I do 4 of these. So this block will be the gap between 2 of them, and then we need 9 spaces for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this chamber is not wide enough to do 4. Okay, that's the amount of space 3 will take up. Centered. And it looks like the waterfall is centered with this thing. It may be off slightly. If I go all the way over to this corner, I'm in the wall. And if I go all the way over to this corner, I'm also in the wall. But only a little. So if I push these out a little, it should help. Alright, so that's 3 tiers of the storage facility, storage stack. I think I'm going to start calling it storage stack. So that's 3 levels, and I think once I get up 3 levels, I think the next 3 levels above there are going to be a little bit deeper, so maybe they will come out this way more. Maybe they'll be 2 stacks deep. But so I'm going to start with 3, like that. Okay, so I think they need to be higher than this. So I'm going to delete this bottom level and see what it looks like with just this level hanging there. Okay, so I think that looks better if they're hanging starting from that height. That's what it looks like, and I think it needs to come towards me a little bit, a few blocks. I don't like it. I don't think it should be that embedded in the wall. Okay, so that way it doesn't compete with the Victory Monument, or it doesn't. It's not going to obstruct it anyway. Once I clear out these fences and make the stairwells. So that's good. Then that means if that's 3 blocks, it's going to be 5 blocks deep. Out of dirt again. Damn. Give me that. One, two, three, four, 5. That means it's already going to be embedded in the wall up to this point. I may carve out some of this. To make the bottom, I want at least the bottom one to be completely free hanging. I may just carve out the wall. Alright, that much is done. Oh my god. So I now have 72 double storage boxes, or 144 single storage boxes set up right there. I'm still going up and down this silly little ladder. So I think next thing I need to do is set up the stairwells. Okay, now it's a little isolated. I still don't like it. It looks very inefficient. Maybe a ladder makes the most sense in this case. Oh, we're getting close. I can feel it. That's closer. What about, just to be zany and wacky, let's try a double ladder. Alright, how about that? It looks kind of funny. I've never made a double ladder before, I don't think. There's something there, though, that I'm getting close to. Oh, I really can't wait to build the next level. You know, I may never need that much storage, but I may build it just for fun, because that's funny looking. So now there's ladders on either side of the storage stack. Yes! Oh, this looks awesome. Okay, so this ended up being a lot more work than I first anticipated. It's always like that every time I undertake a project. It always ends up taking 3 or 4 times longer than I think it will. But I'm pretty happy with that result. So let's see. The next thing I need to do is start doing paths and walkways and stuff. Yeah. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Now I need to work on connecting this over to there. I don't really like the way that looks. Doesn't look quite right. And see, I need to even up this. So here we are. This is the storage stack version 1.0 with room for future expansion above, waterfall, a bunch of work done here. Next I'm going to I guess I'm going to start moving stuff over here, and next episode we'll get back to some proper adventuring. How about that? Alright, hope you enjoyed the video. See you later. Take it easy. Have a good day.